What is up, guys? So welcome back to my road to global time attack. This is going to be episode 2. Last episode, I think we left off, I had just taken the valves out and I was going to get ready to lap them. Well, had to clean the head up and stuff first. So I had this whole elaborate plan where I was going to be able to lap my own valves and clean the head and not have to go to a machine shop. And here we are now. The head is back from a machine shop. So as I'm lapping the valves, I mean, let's just admire how clean and nice everything looks. New guides, so pretty. Anyways, so as I was cleaning the head up, I found that... All right, here we go. I found that the valve, especially the exhaust side, the intake side was pretty good. But the exhaust side, I had so much side-to-side play. And I ended up calling a buddy of mine, Chris Vega, who ended up helping me measure out the inside of the guide and compare it to the outer diameter of the valve. So the guide inner diameter has a specific tolerance, and so does the outside of the valve. The valve was okay, but the inner diameter of the guide was kaputs, no good. So I ended up having to rush and find a machine shop locally that could take care of putting new guides, doing a new OEM spec 3-angle job. We milled the head 2000s just to make sure I have a nice clean mating surface for the new Spoon Sport cylinder head gasket. And they also cleaned up the intake ports, and they cleaned up the exhaust ports as well. They tanked the head, they made everything look nice. So I am pretty much back in business. Now I have to put everything together. One quick thing they did do with the valves, forgive my mess, I'm all over the place right now. But they reground my valves too, because I had already lapped some of them. And then I figured out what was wrong, what my real issue was. So I don't even think I had bent valves to begin with. I think it was more the valve was just moving around, like rotating. Because they usually rotate this way, but because the guides were so out of spec, I feel like the valve was just floating around and causing the seat to kind of pound itself out every time the valve went up. But now they've got the valves, the new valves, flat valves, nice and made it up to every port. So in putting them back together, the guy was kind enough to set up the valves. Sorry, I needed 2 hands. Set up the valves to the point where he marked a small number 1 over here. So I'll be starting exhaust valve number 1, intake valve number 1. All the valves have a small etch underneath on the bottom, which he did for me. This says number 7 or L, but it looks like a 7. So this would be intake valve number 7. Then over here, this would be exhaust valve number 6. So just so you guys have an idea, some places do it differently, but the guy I went to, that's the way he set it up. So now I'm gonna assemble this old girl, get it ready to paint it again. Yes, I know. I don't need to paint the cylinder head, but I want to. So all right, let's get into reassembling this cylinder head. I've got the cylinder head on my stands. A couple of people asked me what stands these are, but these are some Matco stands. That's the part number, MST8815. So these are great little stands. They go right into the holes for the bolts for the cylinder head, and you can rest it right on it. So I made sure I have my valves nearby, my spring seats, keepers, retainers, stem seals, and my springs. I also have a little cup of oil, fresh, clean oil, not the same cup that's been sitting here for the longest. But yeah, I'm just going to set up the camera on a time lapse, and I'm going to go to town. There's plenty of videos out there on how to reassemble, but just a quick breakdown. You put the spring seats, put the seats in, you put the spring seats in. You know, obviously I'm going to put some oil. Then I'm going to install the valve stem seals, intake and exhaust. And then I can start putting the valves in from the bottom. And then the springs, retainers, and keepers. You'll see throughout the time lapse more or less how it goes together. Alright guys, so the exhaust valves are in. Exhaust springs, retainers, keepers, seals, all of it is in. As you saw on the time lapse. So now I'm just going to run over and do the intake side. No need for me to record that because you just saw what I did on the exhaust side. Got my lost motion assemblies in now. These little jammies right here. Now to get the rocker arms and everything else back in. Coolant sensors, all the other stuff. The cams and that stuff will go on after the head goes back in the car. So I want to get this stuff in, then I'll mask this up to paint it. And then got a couple errands to do while it dries. And then we'll start prepping the block to get mated with the rebuilt head. Here it is, all painted up. I used a VHT engine enamel cast aluminum color. That's the color I like to use. I know it doesn't look exactly like aluminum, but it's pretty close. So now I'm just gonna unmask it and then I'll put this aside so I can start prepping the block to put the ARP head studs in, and then we can lay the head back into the engine bay. All right, so the surface of the block is really clean. I cleaned up some pistons already. 1 and 4 is clean. About to clean up 2 and 3 right now. What I'm using is this stuff. This stuff is amazing. Instant gum cutter by 2+2 or 2x2, however you want to say it. I just spray some on the rag. I wipe down the top of the piston, and it cleans it right up. Let's see if I can set this up for you to see. All right, I sprayed some of this stuff on the rag right here, and now I just gonna take my rag and clean up the pistons real quick. Just wipe it down and you can see how it starts to clean it up. Gives it a nice, takes off some of that carbon. You can see already, just a little bit of it. Just gonna keep going with this and I'll show you the finished product. All right. Clean, or as clean as I can get them. They actually look a lot cleaner in the camera than they do in person. But yeah, this is it. The cylinders are clean. Let me kind of rotate the rotating assembly so you can kind of see. Maybe I can switch hands. There we go, much better. There you go. You got 1 and 4, and then 2 and 3 are all nice and clean. So I'm just gonna clean off this surface here. And then I'm going to start placing in the ARP head studs. Let's just enjoy how nice these look. Ooh. Ah. Head studs are in place. I love these things. This is my first time using them, but it's super straightforward. You have the head studs. In this case, for the B18C, they're all the same height. I think some other cars, some may differ in height, so depending on what setup you have, you know, just be mindful of that. But, you know, it's just a stud. You have threads on this end and you have threads on the end inside. They give you like a anti-seize type of stuff. Let's see what it's called. It's called fastener assembly lubricant. So you take some of this, you run it along the threads, and then you hand thread it into the block. And then with the Allen head that's at the top of the stud, you just give it a little bit extra just to make sure it's nice and snug. In this case, mine was a 3/16. So put the Allen head in, give it a little turn, it's snug. These I all did already, but just going over them again. And then ARP also provides you with their own torque specifications. You see this one still had some left in it. The reason I do this is because sometimes that fastener assembly lube creates like a little airtight seal underneath. So once the air comes up, you can tighten them a little bit more. So yeah, now we lay the head gasket down. Before we lay the head gasket down, we'll just clean this up one more time, make sure there's no debris on the mating surface. We'll lay the brand new Spoon Sports 2-ply head gasket that I got. Yes, I know, it wasn't necessary. I could have gone with a regular OEM one, but I like Spoon, so that's what I'm using. 2-ply, hopefully bump up compression a little bit. Hopefully the valves bump up the compression a little bit. And yeah, maybe we can make some jam. Well, I got ahead of myself, and I got the head on the car. Completely forgot to record me lubing the top of the ARP studs, installing the head gasket, and putting the head on, and then tightening all the bolts and the sequence and everything. Well, you guys should know how to do that, and if not, there's plenty of information. You can buy yourself one of these Haynes manuals, whatever they're called. But all the torque specs and stuff are in here, everything you should need, all the clearances and all that jazz. But man, it's in there. This just made me feel good. I think I'm gonna go buy me a beer and then come back and continue, because I still got to put the cams and stuff in. I got a new timing belt going in. I need to redo the valve lash because it's all new valves. So I've still got quite a bit of work ahead of me, but we're gonna get this done. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna leave it at this for today's episode. I think I got enough done today. Got the head back together, mounted on the block with the ARP head studs, a spoon, head gasket. I mounted the exhaust manifold, intake manifolds mounted. I don't think you guys need to see me, wire this thing up, plug in connectors. Doesn't really matter. So maybe the next video we'll pick up where we started. So I'm kind of tired. I've been here since like 7 a.m. It's like 8 o'clock now. I keep going, but yeah, dude. Like, I'm just really excited. It's coming together. I hope it runs perfectly fine once we're ready for starting it. But sorry, somebody's over there. But anyways, I hope everything works out just fine. It should be. I took my time. I feel like I did everything right, but you never know. Shit happens. But we're keeping our fingers crossed because I need to do this. I need to make Global Time Attack. So I'll catch y'all on the next video. Thanks again. Be well. Stay safe.